Hi Starshot. So the big news today is Project Breakthrough Starshot, which is a plan to send tiny probes to the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, a bit over 4 light years away. So it's being kicked off by Yuri Milner, Stephen Hawking and Mark Zuckerberg. And the plans are basically just launch thousands of these little probes that have sails and use lasers to push them along. What's really cool is these lasers will actually need to generate 100 gigawatts of power, and they'll need to have an array, so thousands of these lasers pointing at one spot in a mile-long array. Wow. So if you launch a rocket with 1,000 of these 1 gram probes, they'd basically get to orbit, and then their sails would unfurl on each of them, and powerful lasers would push them at 1/5 the speed of light. So the project would cost maybe 5 to 10 million. There's still definitely a lot of technology to work out to actually make it work. But then the laser array could actually be used for other projects, other NASA launches. But so here's the cool thing, normally interstellar travel has been way off limits. With current technology, it would take 30,000 years just to get to Alpha Centauri, which is the nearest star system to us. Whereas the estimates here are that it might take 20 years to prepare this project, it will only take 20 years to get to Alpha Centauri, and then about 4 years until data starts being fed back. Wow. So 45 years, that's in less than a generation, we can actually have data coming back from the nearby star system and learning about the planets there, an entire array of our little alien robots checking it out. The fact that our species is planning to launch within the next 50 years a project like this, 1 gram, tiny microsatellites, possibly even nanosatellites to the nearest star system is crazy. And this is why groups like SETI, like the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, they're not looking for little green men anymore. They're looking for AI life forms, and possibly even nano. I've actually often thought that, if you want to actually go and explore every single place in the universe and just map it out and see what's out there, you would send out tiny little micro, even nano probes that are not visible to the eye to every system. Humans in biological form are never going to extend beyond our solar system just because the distances are too vast and we can't go faster than the speed of light. We have to go into non-biological form. That went too big. There used to be a thing called the 100-year Starship that they're looking at doing, of sending humans on a starship, through multi-generations to go and colonize a nearby star. But doing that takes way too much energy. It's much better if we just digitize the entire human species and we just all exist in a tiny little nano dot, and then we just copy ourselves and head to the nearest star. This also brings up other interesting thought experiments. If we're capable of sending 1 gram satellites now, or soon, within 50 years, and we can send microsatellites and nanosatellites, who's to say aliens haven't already sent them here? Because there'd be absolutely no way to recognize nanosatellites because they're so tiny, you wouldn't be able to, telescopes couldn't find them. It'd be interesting if we found some orbiting our own Earth. Not that I think aliens are visiting us. But if you follow that thought down the rabbit hole, there's actually a concept called Panspermia, the idea that maybe aliens seeded life on Earth, and that's, we're just the product of it, the evolution of that. Which would kind of make sense, because DNA is essentially just a nanobot. It's a self-replicating, tiny little micro machine, a robot. We don't see it as that, we see it as life and gives us life. It's a robot. So if we had the ability to basically seed life on other planets, send out these trillions of these little microbot, nanobot things, and they go and land on planets that don't have life and create life, I think we'd do it. Yep. Anywho, fun speculation. Stop with your thoughts. This is the first time that interstellar travel has actually become something where it's generational. It's not 30,000 long years. So your thoughts.